This update is June 11th, 2024. The time is 10 a.m. In attendance are Commissioners Matari, Brooks, and Duncan. Are there changes to the agenda?
Nope.
All right. Public comment. Nope. Our first item, Justice Center update from Turner, Townsend, Heery. David Mendez, please.
Good morning, David Mendez with Turner and Townsend Heery. So I've given you the updated cost sheet. There are virtually no changes on it other than there was a correction to, it's marked in green, C.4, which is the point and patch of exterior concrete. I had signed that amount. It was originally $25,000. It's for $7,533. So there was a significant reduction in that final number. The plenum item, which is DC .14, we talked about, that'll be next week's, in your next week's meeting. It'll be up for your approval. The final number was without markup is the one I was looking at. It was 21,000, so that's why I was looking at signing that, but it's at 26,594. Are there any questions about any of those change items?
No.
Okay. One last item that I'd like, well, there are two items. Schedule. So, you know, we look at cost and schedule as being two important aspects of the project from the county standpoint. Schedule-wise, with the weather that came through over the last couple of weeks, they've had a little bit of delay in the structural, the installation of the steel. We've got, I've asked the contractor for a recovery plan. We'll be going over that on Thursday's OAC meeting. So they said that there is not a delay in the overall, but I want to see that plan in a recovery plan on the schedule so that we don't have any hiccups coming to the completion of the project. And the last item is the topping out ceremony. The contractor, it's a milestone in their project when they finish the steel all the way to the roof. That will be towards the end of the month. They've got a beam that they're painting white, and they would like to see if the county wants to be involved in signing of that beam as kind of a topping out ceremony. Of course, it would be at noon on a Friday. So I just wanted to see if that's something that you would want to be involved in, and I'll send the invitation out to the people that you want from the county, if that's the case.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Very good. I'll get that set up.
Right. Is that it?
That's all I have for you.
Okay. Questions?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bill, any questions?
No, I really don't have any questions. Thank you.
All right. We'll have the updated numbers for you when you come back into the office.
Would you like that electronic?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, if you wanted to send it electronically, then.
Okay. I'll
Bill
send
can-
it out to all the commissioners then electronically, so you've got that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, item 2, update on jail pod project with Tom Reed.
As far as the jail pods go, we had a video conference with Sletton and the design team yesterday, and went over some of the drawings, discussed some of the finer details and the project. And Sletton will be meeting with subcontractors this week, and they will be nailing down a proposal to present to us in the next few weeks. So everything's progressing pretty good.
Okay, questions?
No questions.
Okay, Bill, any questions on the jail pod project?
No questions.
All right. And Corey, KC North Remodel update.
Corey Trapp, LTA Architects. Just to update you on a couple things that are going on at the sheriff's office. Schedule-wise, they're pretty much on schedule still. They've They're nearing the completion of framing the new offices in, and the floor was framed. I was there on Friday taking a look at things. So they're coming along pretty quickly. Couple things have come up. We told you earlier there was an issue with some moisture coming through the floors. We've had to, and it came up in kind of like three different offices. This is my theory. What happened is that when they built the building, there's a vapor barrier under the slab, and there was probably water standing on it. The contractor poked holes in 3 spots, and that's where the water has come back up. When the county took over the building, the temperature was turned down in the building. When the temperature turned down, I think that kind of helped draw the moisture up into those slabs, because they weren't having any trouble with any of the moisture happening before that. When that occurred, though, when the moisture came up, it re-emulsifies the glue because it's water-based, and a whole bunch of the tiles, probably about a third of the tiles in the lower floor weren't sticking to the floor anymore. So we've had to take those out and remove them. We've got a cost from the contractor to remove the floor tiles is $2,930.40. And then to go back in and put new carpet down in those areas is $2,521.92. So we have that as a proposal request to bring to you as a change order at some point.
What's the square footage we're talking about?
It's, on the main floor, it's probably about 1,200 square feet. There's several areas where the flooring is in good condition and wasn't loose at all, so we left that part of it alone.
So 1,200 square feet of tile removal and then 1,200 square feet of new carpet?
Yeah, well, and actually what we did too, as part of that, we had LVT tile on the upper floor, so we've changed that out to carpet instead, so there's probably about 2,000 square feet there. So that cost of the carpet is, for the main, it's spread out between about 3,000 square feet. So the difference in cost between LVT on the upper floor and then replacing the LVT that we were gonna leave with new carpet. So the majority of the cost is probably the carpet on the main floor.
Sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. Are we getting a savings by switching to carpeting, or?
No, it's probably a small increase on the second floor for it, but the majority of the cost of going to carpet is involved with the main floor where we had the tile not sticking to the floor.
Are you using carpet tile? Or?
Carpet tile, yes. Yeah. That way it's easy to replace if you have a stain in one spot. Right.
So we're looking at, what, another roughly $5,000?
Yeah, it's a little bit over that. It's about 5,400, roughly.
Okay. David, did you have a comment?
David Mendez with Turner Townsend, Heery. My question is, with the pricing on that tile, has the subcontractor indicated whether they would be able to warranty that? I guess my question comes down to, is there a way to mitigate that moisture? The glues typically fail when they're water soluble, so they would typically fail in that condition.
Yeah, we're using a carpet that actually doesn't have a rubber back on it, so it can breathe, so the moisture can come up all the way through and not get trapped underneath the carpet. So that and they said they would warrant the installation if we use this carpet.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Is that it for?
No, I have a couple other things.
Okay.
So another one, the sheriff's office came to us and indicated that they were counting office spaces again, and they want to enclose, we had 2 open office areas on the second floor, and they want to actually enclose 2 more of those to create 2 more private offices. So it entails adding a wall and 2 more doors. As part of this too, on the lower floor, we made the interview rooms a little bit smaller. It made one office a little bit bigger. I think that one's going to be a no-cost change. We sent this to the contractor about a week and a half ago. They're like probably gonna give me the price today on this. So there'll be a little bit of an ad for, the majority of the ad's gonna be for the doors. There were also, as part of this proposal request, there were 2 doors that the staff was gonna put in that they've asked to have the contractor put in instead. So there's 2 additional doors that are added to this. One is in an interview room in the main lobby, and the other one is a door that goes between evidence and the, it's not the day room, the patrol room, yeah. I'm thinking fire department day room. It's a patrol room. There's an existing door that needs to be replaced there that's not in good shape. As soon as I get this pricing, I will send that to you. Okay. Another issue that just popped up with the last storm that we had is there's an overflow drain that goes out the east side of the evidence building space. And the grass out, there's an overflow drain where the grass is outside of that. It's built up pretty high. It seems what we can best guess is when the water comes out that overflow, it puddles in that area, and it's sloped basically back towards the building, and the water's coming underneath into the slab, and it's kind of flooding a little bit of the corner there. Tom and I just talked about it. We think the solution may be just to go out there and kind of regrade that area so it slopes better away from the building. But we'll give more information on that when we come up with it. And then, let's see, what's my list? Then the last thing I have for you is the re-roof project. The drawings are basically done. I've sent the frontal documents to legal to review so that we can put it out for bid. We just need to establish some dates and time frame and advertising for that and have approval from the commissioners to put that out for bid.
Okay. All right, so once legal reviews it, then you'll bring it forward.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions for Corey?
No, just waiting for the prices here.
Yeah.
Would now be a good time just to go over the progress for North? Or do you want to add that into the facilities group?
No, you can do it now.
Since we're talking about North.
Yeah.
The lobby's about 2 to 3 weeks out from being finished with the hardening. The electrical for evidence is roughed in and inspected. The HVAC is scheduled to start next week on Monday, the 17th. There's no completion date at this time, but Stancraft should be able to complete the project and hand at least evidence over by July 15th. So we should be done with evidence and be able to start moving them in. The auto shop is currently moving their equipment this week and setting up their shop. Maintenance will be finishing the airlines today and making the connections to their equipment. You've already kind of talked about detectives. CTC is working on finishing up the electrical evaluation and repairs. And that's pretty much what we've been working on. So any questions or comments? No.
Bill, any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Okay, so thank you. All right, item 4, facilities working group presentation. Tom agreed to represent the group and give an update.
Greg was just calling me, so I'm assuming I was a part of the PMR, which I don't have any information on that as far as the updates. CDA driver's licensing. Will Klinkenfuss mentioned the idea of moving driver's license into the soon-to-be vacant sheriff's office building, which would clear up some office space downstairs and reduce a lot of the congestion in the lower parking lot, which I had a really difficult time parking today, as usual. We reached out to a contractor, an architect, which Corey is involved in that. And based on some of the details, they came up with the cost of around $147,000 to do the remodel at the old sheriff's department. Community development expressed interest in moving some of their staff into the space downstairs once that happens, if that happens. The group would like to send a collaborative letter of recommendation in support of this to the BOCC for consideration. The jail generator project, 2 weeks ago, we met with Kaufman Engineering, walked through the sheriff's office and the PSB to review the electrical systems and the transfer switches. They took notes and multiple photos and requested a set of prints. Once they receive that, they'll begin working on the design engineering stage. And then we're in the middle of moving maintenance from our old building into the new building, so in between everything else, we're doing that, so. That's about it. Questions?
All right.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. Don't driver's license and registration usually go together?
That's a question I can't answer.
I mean, most people, when they move here, they need to update their driver's license and then also get their registrations updated.
Kind of well confused for the record. I don't know. I've never registered my vehicle and my driver's license at the same time, so I can't speak to whether that happens or not. You are correct. It will separate those two functions, but one is a sheriff's office function and one is not. So, yeah, that's a good question, Commissioner. But
They're not in the same building in Post Falls.
they're not. Well, they're close.
Yeah, they're close.
a block away from each other.
Yeah.
So this will substantially separate the two functions.
Yeah. And what are the plans? How much space is going to be available in the old courthouse once the Justice Center is done?
We haven't
That's
gone
not
through
something
that.
I've been tracking.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm just curious why we're not looking at it more holistically, because, we hear these quotes, it's only going to be $140,000. And, whatever quotes we end up hearing to induce us into these decisions end up quite often being significantly higher. We got a building for a great deal, but we put $1 million in upwards of $1.4 million we might have to put into it.
Approaching $1.3 million.
Yeah, we have this Justice Center, which will be clearing out a lot of the courthouse. Maybe we should be looking at remodeling that a little bit, doing some updates there and thinking about who could go there. So, my take on it is that I'm just reluctant to want to move people until we see all the space after the Justice Center is filled with the people whose offices have already been assigned for that, and then we can kind of figure out what makes the most sense before incurring more expenses, only because we're spending so much money right now on so many different things that some of them have gone beyond, our initial estimates. And, looking at what the asks are on the budget this year, I think we need to look at everything that we're doing and ask, do we need to do it today?
And the good news is our facilities director starts on June 25th. So then we'll give him some time to get his feet wet and look at all this holistically and go from there.
And I would say, based on my experience and the history, is the initial cost of remodeling is a lot cheaper than building. Plus, pushing it out extends the cost drastically. I mean, the jail pods were $2 million if we would have just finished them, and now we're upwards of $9 million within a 5-year period. So.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone argues with the fact that the prices are going up. The question is, how much are we going to deplete our fund balance?
Right.
With an uncertain future as far as revenues and things like that. And I think that, at least the idea of being conservative is to make sure you have the money before you spend it and make sure that you don't deplete your money and then get caught when the tide goes out. That's usually when you find out who's wearing a bathing suit and who's not.
Right.
And I don't think we want to be in that situation where we don't have a bathing suit.
Weren't there discussions in the facilities work group meeting about the space you're asking about?
There was.
I felt that there was some discussion about it, and people that were in it were already going to stay in it. So I think there's an answer to that question. I don't have it off the top of my head. I have to go back and look at the minute notes of that.
We had looked at putting community development up there at one point,
Yeah, well,
Stan's office.
you know,
All that's been discussed, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
Yeah.
much of the meeting notes have been read, so.
the facilities working group has been this abstract concept for the balance of the board. I've never had anyone from the facilities working group come up and give a presentation of any sort until today. And apparently, for a 5-minute presentation, you guys have been doing a lot of work. And this isn't a criticism or a critique. This is just what I've been hearing. So I figured it would have been a little more all-inclusive, the update, for all the different discussions about what's been going on, where the pieces are going to move throughout the county, and how much that's going to cost, and what the plan is for that, and which one's going to happen first, and then second, and third. That's kind of what I was expecting. So it's not, believe me, no one's holding you to that standard. It's just that I've been hearing about this facility working group since I came on, and this is the first time anyone's actually come before us, so thank you.
I think it's more of a work in progress. There's nothing really to present until, as a group, we kind of put the puzzle pieces together. There's a lot of moving pieces in this. A lot of potential office space.
Yeah.
So-
How many times have you guys made decisions on something and then said, oh, let's change that and do something different?
There's been a few times.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Especially with the-
I don't know if any decisions have been made, recommendations
But-
have been discussed.
But that's the whole point.
Yeah, it's changed.
Ideas
But I
vetted.
think Commissioner Duncan's correct in when she says that this facilities manager, that's really their function. They should be sitting here giving this presentation, not to random people from the sheriff's office trying to do our best to, give you the information you want. So hopefully when that person's seated, they can give you the information that you like.
Yeah,
that
and
you-
that's-
that you want.
That's another moving piece that's only occurred in the last couple of weeks.
Right.
But in the
So,
works for a year.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get
Oh,
this guy on board for a
believe me,
year.
we understand hiring and getting
Yeah.
people on board. We understand that.
So. Okay, Bill, any questions?
I do not.
Okay. Public comment. Come on up, Ron.
Good morning, Ron Hartman. A couple questions on KC North. First one, don't we have insurance to cover water damage? When we looked into filing a claim?
There's no damage.
Or you're replacing carpet and tile and you had to lift it? Sounds to me like an insurance claim. Have you at least inquired to see if you got
Yeah,
coverage?
I'm sorry. If you're gonna come, you've got to come to a microphone, but you guys can do this offline, because this is public comment,
Okay.
not a discussion.
The next one, with this moisture and damage, I don't see anything in there to fix what caused the problem. You're just putting new on what was damaged. What's gonna keep the new from getting damaged? And here we are again. The next time we get a whole cycle of this temperature and stuff, you're gonna be taking that carpet out too. I think you need a facility manager and you need to get him here now.
Any other public comment? All right, 10:23, meeting adjourned. Thank you.